Alrighty, welcome to another edition of the Sports Media Athlete Profile Series. Today we've got walk-on Division I wrestler from Sacred Heart, Joseph Cyr. Joey, thank you for coming on the program today.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
Absolutely. So first, I want to start off kind of by, if you'd like to introduce yourself, kind of give a little background on yourself, what you're studying here, maybe a little bit about how you got into the program, and then we'll go from there.
All right, yeah, so I'm Joey Cyr. I'm a junior here, exercise science program, DPT, aspiring. So I got into wrestling in high school. I did it all 4 years, but I got injured my junior and senior year, so I didn't really have the opportunity to initially wrestle in college, but I was luckily able to get into the club wrestling program here my freshman year. That was a really good experience because it was a smaller team. I was able to because it was smaller, I got a lot of one-on-one attention. I was able to get a lot better there rather than kind of sitting on the sidelines and just kind of learning a team environment. So that definitely helped me. And my interest in wrestling was still peaking. I think I definitely always wanted to wrestle at the top if I could. And then COVID hit, so we didn't have a season my sophomore year. And that was really unfortunate because I really just got back into wrestling my freshman year after coming off of 2 injuries. And then Coach Clark reached out to me after my buddy who was recruited here gave him my info, and I got into talks with him.
Yeah, and we definitely have talked about this before about you being a walk-on, and you talk about a guy like Coach Clark, kind of turn around the wrestling program here, going from a program that was under 500 to over 500, having qualifying athletes. Now, talk to me about your experience with head coach John Clark and assistant coaches as well, and your recruiting process, because obviously, as a walk-on, there's no scholarship. You just jump right into that program. So talk to me about how you were able to get that opportunity. And how it's been so far.
Yeah, so I actually knew Coach Clark since my freshman year because, we wrestle in the same room, club or Division I. So I met him before. He knows my story. So I started talking with him in person, and he kind of laid it out to me that, you can have this opportunity. I know who you are. You're a good guy. You want to work hard. It's just at the end of the day, it's a huge commitment going from club to Division I. But if you want the shot, you can go for it.
Yeah, and talking about also, because obviously now you're on the Division I team, but you originally did club here. So can you talk a little bit about the jump from going from club wrestling and maybe the grind that was, and compare it to Division I? How does it compare? Is it different? I mean, I'd assume it's different, but talk to me about the differences there.
Yeah, it's actually it's weird because at the end of the day, wrestling is wrestling. But so no matter where I was practicing, I'm always busting my ass. It's just kind of the nature of the sport. There's no you're not half-assing it ever. But the quality of the room, obviously, that's going to be different. You have kids recruited versus kids who sign up. But the club wrestling was definitely a good step for me. I don't think I would be in this position if I didn't do the club freshman year, because kind of just getting the foundation that I needed. But now with Division I, you got to come prepared every day to work hard. There's no off days. Even if some days the practices are easier, everyone in the room is good at the end of the day. So you're still scrapping, you're still getting after it. And obviously the competition is very high.
Yeah, so how do the practices run? Talk me through a normal day of practice, because I know you had told me before that you guys are practicing pretty much every day. You do lifting sessions as well. Pretty strenuous stuff on a daily basis. Kind of definitely a grind. So talk to me about that. What the routine is for that.
Yeah. So now, right now, we're currently in the off season. We just finished the season. The first week of March was the EIWA conference tournament. We didn't send anyone to NCAAs this year, so our attitude was we want to get back there after previously sending to the year before. So currently we have 5 practices a week. We're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday lift, and then following that up with a practice, and then we have Tuesday, Thursday just practice.
So, like you said, you didn't have any qualifiers this year. You're trying to grind. So, what's going to be the expectation for yourself and for the team? What's from the locker room perspective, and then for your own goals as well? What are the expectations for next year?
I mean, our expectations are to give our full effort. I think that we had a lot of commitment issues this year because obviously we had the biggest roster out of all the Division I teams in the country. So accountability is definitely an issue. But that's kind of what I love about wrestling. If you wanna be there, if you wanna be accountable, you can be. So obviously there's some kids that, they could be very, very good wrestlers, but if you're not there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other question I have for you is now obviously you got to be a part of the program this year, and you talk about expectations for next year. So, and like you said as well, that you are part of the DPT program. So will you be continuing your athletic career as well if you do graduate school here?
Yeah, so I've talked with Coach Clark a lot about this. He said like the opportunity is there if I want it. I'm definitely going to continue with the program going into next year, my senior year, and then I'm gonna see what my schedule's like. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because like wrestling's such a hard sport, and you'd think like, the breaks are nice, like getting away from it. Like, and I do get tired of it every once in a while. More that it's a big grind, like 5 days a week, 6 days a week in season, the long travel days. But I take a couple of days off or I take a week off or so, and it's just there's something about it you can't describe that you just miss. So like even like I could have been done with wrestling realistically after high school. Like I had 2 injuries, right? Like it took me a lot of rehab to be able to get to a position where I can compete, but I just keep coming back to it.
So how much does the sport of wrestling mean to you?
It's hard to quantify, It's like, I mean, I'll just be sitting around, I start watching wrestling videos, whether it be like the top world competitions, other college wrestlers. I'm watching technique videos, and it's just like kind of like I just get so immersed in it, and I kind of like lose track of myself. Like, I mean, obviously we're in the room, we could be working out for 2-3 hours, and it just kind of goes by in a flash because like you just get so into it and you love it.
And so, why is wrestling? And I want your personal perspective on this. Why is for you wrestling different than say football or lacrosse or baseball? What is the biggest difference, and like you said, why does it mean so much to you? What is the biggest difference that makes this such a sport that you become enthralled in, that you become a part of this community, that it's almost like, not to say that you're outcast, but it's like once you're in this community, no one can fully understand what it's like. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually. So like I was a football player in high school, and I mean, it's hard to say like what the huge difference is, but there's just something about wrestling like versus football. Like after my senior year of football, it's not that I hated it, but I was kind of done with it. Like, I mean, it's fun like being in front of everyone, but wrestling, like you'll talk to many wrestlers and the same thing. There's nothing as hard in life as wrestling. Like practices like every day. I've never sweat so much. Like I've never like been so tired after a practice. I'll lay down like for hours because like I gave it my all. Like football, like I mean, there's some days you're clashing heads, but there's other days you get off the field and you're just kind of doing whatever. I don't know. It's just like wrestling requires your full attention. All of your cardio, all your muscle strength, endurance. You really got to be all out there, all in, all the time. There's no half-assing it. It's like, especially now at the Division I level, I have had days where like I'm tired, so I'm like, oh, I'm only gonna half-ass it here. I'm only gonna, give a little effort. I'm just gonna try to get by, but that really doesn't work. So now like I've really, as the weeks have gone on, I've made it a point to, I'm only in here for a few hours out of my full day. I'm gonna leave it all out there, even if I'm getting my ass kicked, because like I said before, everyone in the room is good. Everyone's here for a reason. So, there's days where confidence goes up, confidence goes down based on just how I wrestled today.
So
But I just wanna work.
tell me, how well has Sacred Heart done in developing you as a wrestler? And I know it's an individual sport, and you can only do so much on the mat yourself. Talk to me about being in the environment and at the Pit Center and being in the wrestling room. How much has that influence helped you, or maybe even hurt you? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so Coach Clark has been a blessing of a coach to have. Obviously, we have many wrestlers in the room at all times, but he makes sure that everyone is working hard. Everyone gets the technique in that they need to. And I think actually something that has helped us, I talked down about like the accountability aspect of having a big team, but having a big team every day, there's a full room. Every day there's a bunch of bodies that are trying to get better, and the best way to get better is wrestling 100 different styles. So like in high school, like, there's only like a couple kids your weight, maybe 5-6 kids, and yeah, you get better wrestling them, but when you're wrestling 15 different guys throughout the course of practice, you're gonna see everything. You can't really account for all the different styles in wrestling, so it's good experience to just see everyone.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, that's all the time we have. But again, thank you so much for coming on this segment.
Yeah,
and
of course.
This has been Robbie Finizio on the Sports Media Athlete Profile Series. Thanks for tuning in.